We find Aegon seated on the Iron Throne, hearing petitions from citizens. And we can see he's making an attempt to seem fair and just, to kind of build a name for himself, I would assume. But it would seem that, he's a bit lost and clueless. Each one of the petitioners that comes and states whatever the case might be, where they have legitimate concerns. Many of these problems are issues being caused by the royal family and this fight that they now have going on. One of the petitioners, his goats had been commandeered to feed the dragons so that they have a supply of food for the dragons, which would become especially important should they go to war. He tells men that he can have back his goats. The reality is that they've commandeered goats and livestock, it sounds like, from a lot of people in anticipation of having to feed these dragons as they're fighting. And returning one person's goats would mean that everyone else would petition to have their goats returned as well. Hightower explains this to Aegon. Aegon backtracks on that decision. And on down, each one of the petitions, he pretty much is just prepared to give the people whatever it is that they want, right? Now, the unfair part of this is that people have legitimate concerns. These problems are being caused by the royal family. This is the one course through which they can try to get their situation worked out. But at the same time, Aegon doesn't really have a good lay of the land, right? He doesn't have a good understanding of how to handle things from the perspective of being the king. And so he has Hightower there to offer guidance, but we all know that Hightower is a problem, right? That when it comes down to it, he's achieved this aim of getting his grandson onto the Iron Throne, but he's always going to operate in his best interest. Not collectively, not as a family of Hightowers, but what's best for him. So, upon leaving the throne room and the petitioners, Aegon crosses paths with Larys Strong. And Larys pulls him aside for a moment to have a chat, where basically, this is the thing, people say that there's no honor amongst thieves, and we see that here. Larys was once in cahoots with Allison to bring Hightower back his hand. Now you have it where Larys used that situation to his advantage, and now you see him talking to Aegon and, kind of dropping the idea in Aegon's ear that Otto Hightower has served multiple kings, and maybe it's time for some new blood. If you have him telling you what to do, you have him guiding you, you have him putting words in your mouth and making decisions for you, everyone's going to start to look at you like you're inept or you're incompetent. And it's like with Larys, this is going to lead to some underhanded shenanigans. As early in the episode, when he met with Allison, he explained that he'd interrogated the members of the workers within the household and identified the individuals who might have leaked information and pretty much killed them. You can't help but wonder if he was willing to do that. We saw his actions and machinations in the first season, killing his brother and father, the whole situation with the criminals that killed them, as well as him now, for whatever reason, trying to get Hightower out of the way. It raises some questions about what is Larys's plan and what's he planning to do to Hightower and why. Another interesting thing, and this is to show you these supposed alliances and loyalties between Team Green, where you have Larys seems to now be working against Hightower, and then we see Hightower meeting with Allison, there being some conflict there. Again, it's this thing of distrust, right? Like, they're not quite on the same page. Hightower is trying to put out fires and manage situations and overcome some of the unforeseen circumstances, the problems that arose as a result of Viserys dying. Meanwhile, Allison is upset at being brushed off by Hightower. The reason being that if they're in council meetings and Hightower makes it seem as though Allison isn't needed there or her opinion isn't really needed or anything along those lines, it runs the risk of Aegon and Aemond deciding that, you know what, we don't really need to listen to Mom anymore. We can just do our own thing. And as part of it is that they kind of need to bring Amon and Aegon back into the fold, where they've moved up in station a bit, but it's incredibly important that they keep the two of them under their thumbs. Hightower from there goes, and I think it's interesting that he doesn't go to Aegon, he instead goes to Aemond, and pretty much just talks to him and tells him to, kind of just like cool it down a little bit. You first had Sir Christian Cole and Amon sitting around where they're looking at the map, trying to plot out and plan what the best strategies would be for moving their armies, for getting more resources, for getting more allies and whatnot. When Hightower walks in and pretty much dismisses Sir Christian Cole. From there, Aemond and Hightower have a conversation where Hightower is there to basically bring him back under control and to kind of help him understand why, like, he needs to listen and to not rush in and whatnot. And it seems like they make some headway with the conversation. But what it breaks down to is Hightower believes that Aemon needs to stay the course, needs to remain calm, needs to not get ahead of himself or rush into anything. Aemond needs to be the voice of reason. Aemon needs to keep his emotions and his feelings in check because Aegon is unable to. Unwilling, unable. The point is that Aegon does not control himself. And so the people around him have to then make adjustments. Rhaenyra returns home and informs Daemon that, she's found the confirmation that she was looking for. And so from here, which plays into the episode title, A Son for a Son. If you think back to the season 1 episode, An Eye for a Dragon, meaning that Aemon lost his eye, taking Rhaenyra's dragon, and from there that situation was considered squashed, right? Not really, but so it was said. Now it's back to this tit for tat thing. And so with that, a plan is hatched where they capture the White Worm, who is this informant that passes along information, has passed along information to Hightower. In the past, she had a relationship with Daemon. With Rhaenyra now back and having gotten the confirmation that she felt she needed before moving forward, it's now time for war. What's unexpected is that Rhaenyra calls for Aemon, meaning that she wants him. Daemon then sets it in motion where, using information from the White Worm, he finds a way to get some individuals into the castle with the intent of, I was under the impression, finding and killing Aemond. I actually thought it was pretty cool the way that the two men worked their way through the castle, right? It gives you a different view of the castle in comparison to what we usually see. Like, I read the book, but I wasn't quite expecting for the whole situation with the kids in the bed happening so early. I just assumed that it would be later on in the season, but it doesn't take anything away from the show or anything like that. It's just that the timing wise, I thought it would be later on in the season rather than now. So the guys make their way into the nursery where the two kids are sleeping, and inquire from the queen which one is the king's heir. With this information, they attack the child, killing the child in its bed, while the queen picks up the other kid. And I was kind of concerned as to why, once she got clear of these two men, why she didn't yell for help. Instead, she very silently makes her way to Allison's room, where Allison is currently intimately engaged, and uses this as an opportunity to tell Allison that, there's these two guys in there killing your grandson right now, or killing your grandkid right now. It just struck me as odd. As well as, if you think back to earlier in the episode, the queen, when she spoke to Aegon and expressed her concerns, that she was scared, and he told her, don't worry, we got dragons patrolling the city, it's not a problem at all. And she expressed her concern was the rats. And like I said, everyone was looking around and whatnot, looking to see if there were rats, if there's a sudden rat infestation or something like that. But it seems like she was speaking in general, or maybe outside of our comprehension. And something that's actually pretty interesting as well is Allison and Sir Christian Cole, when they had their little entanglement moment earlier in the episode, Allison expressed, well, this is the last time that we can do anything like this and whatnot. When the queen walks in, here's Miss Lady Ma'am all over Sir Christian Cole, being a very active participant in their shenanigans. And it's like the hypocrisy, right? Like they're just getting deeper and deeper into things. And then to add to it, where you see Sir Christian Cole and Aemond have like a little meeting of their own, not the kind that he was having with Allison, but it's like this guy is sleeping with Allison and hanging out with her son. This is just a lot going on. It's like, what happens when Aegon and Amon find out? Will they care? Is it going to be weird? What's that like? So I am curious to see where things go from here with these Team Green alliances. How are they going to get back at Team Black for the death of this child? And I think this season is going to be incredible, and I'm looking forward to it. I hope that you join me every Monday for my review and discussion of House of the Dragon Season 2.
Thanks for tuning in. To ensure you don't miss any episodes, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, go ahead and click the thumbs up button if you like what you saw, and go ahead and share it on social media.